But I am very, very excited to go to Tuscaloosa this weekend and to see Alabama versus Texas. Obviously, this is a high-stakes game for me personally and my reputation. I really hope that Alabama doesn't come out and win by 30, which some people think is going to happen. But also, too, at least if that does happen, Dave, then you've got a little cake on your face, too, with your Alabama criticism over the offseason. So
we'll see. It's a long season.
It's a very interesting game. I think it's going to be a revelatory game in terms of how good is Alabama actually going to be this year in a season in which we have some doubts. And then also, too, is Texas athletically up to the challenge to play in these games and compete in these games? They were last year. I have them in my Final Four making the playoff this year. I think they could lose a close game in this game and still be alive for that conversation. But I think we're going to learn whether or not Texas is up to task in this game.
Yeah.
Because Alabama, it's on the road, and Alabama, who almost lost in Austin last year, knows that, what's the score here. And I think both teams are going to be giving it their best shot. So I am very, very excited to go and experience Tuscaloosa at its best, but also excited to see if Texas, with all the analysis and all the depth chart discussion and the 247 composite rankings and all the stuff that we talk about, if they're actually that. So, Mitch, what is your thought process on this game as you look at it?
Well, first of all, I'm excited for you that you get to be at Bryant-Denny Stadium. And I'm excited for Quinn Ewers that he gets a chance to come back after the way that went last year and play against Alabama. That was, in watching that game, that was tough. The way he started that game to then go out and for Texas to still hang around. So I think he's got to be highly motivated. I like Bama to win. I don't have any questions about that. Got some questions about the number, but being in Tuscaloosa, I think Alabama will outscore Texas. I could see a lot of points being on the board on Saturday in Tuscaloosa. I like Alabama to win and to cover.
No.
Are you doing it? Okay, Dave. Hit him. Hit me with it. I honestly don't know what you're going to do because you were down on Texas being a playoff team, and you're also down on Bama. And I got to tell you, I watched a lot of the Alabama game for no specific reason other than losing money last week. And Milroe might be the truth this year, bro. I don't know. We'll see.
I want to see him throw the ball when teams are limiting his legs. This is the same thing with Anthony Richardson last year. Yes, he's a special runner, but when teams reined him in and said, no, you're not going anywhere, you've got to throw the ball, he turned into a pumpkin pretty quick. He had a lot of really, really bad games. So can Texas do that? They've got the athletes to do that. And ultimately, this is the same thing we've been talking about all offseason, Ari. I don't believe in Alabama's weapons. I believe in Texas's weapons. And I believe in what we saw last season. I believe in Texas getting up for this ball game. I think that matters. I think Texas doesn't play a lot of games that they can describe as their Super Bowl very often. And this is one of them. And also, famous last words, Bryant-Denny's not that tough of a place to play. It's just not.
Wow.
It's not that insane.
Wow. I hope we get to watch. I hope we get to watch this game together in Boulder on Saturday night. So since we have a beef here,
yes. So I give me Texas to win outright and Texas to cover here. I've been on Texas to win this game and drop a stupid game later in the year, probably two stupid games later in the year. I think that's still where we're heading. And, LSU was certainly humbled last week, but I'm curious if we see. But if Alabama does come out here and win convincingly and put up some points, then we've got to reassess what they have altogether. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that's going to happen against Texas and their defense. And Texas has got better weapons, and I think you'll see that come to fruition in a game that they win. And people probably go too far on Texas because I don't think they can be the Texas team that you're going to see in Tuscaloosa 12 weeks out of the season.
The chances that if Texas wins that people go too far on Texas, a road win at Alabama are 2,000%. If Texas wins this game, then it's all thing. Texas. Everything
Texas
next week.
That we might see on Saturday is a playoff team. They're a national championship contender, but you got to get there. You got to go beat Iowa State in November. You've got to go take care of business against a bunch of Big 12 teams that can beat you. And if you don't show up, they will beat you. And so that's the issue with Texas. I've never had any questions about peak Texas. This is why when Ari wants to talk about Texas as a playoff team, I agree with them on paper. But I've just seen this Texas team for too long. And I think I have major questions about Sark having never won 10 games before, because you got to win more than 10 to get to the playoff. But I think he can win some big games. I think he wins a big one here.
Ooh. Well, you're right about that, Mitch. I'm going to the game. And if Texas wins, my keyboard is going to be on fire after the game. And of course, we're going to react to it on the podcast right after too. And I'll be doing the show live from the press box, which I'm excited to do. But I feel like Alabama is going to be or is better than I thought. And I am scared, but there's no way I could possibly pick them now.
Ari, are you really going to go this based on Middle Tennessee State? Really?
I thought that Milroe looked very competent.
He is what he is. Like, Ari.
You see that laser he threw, that 60-yard laser?
I did, and I also see that he's playing Middle Tennessee State. It's like, come on.
I know, but he's got the cannon. He looks slim. It's weird because I disagree with you on both fronts, and I'm nervous. And I don't know which one's going to win out. I disagree with you that Alabama is weak in comparison to what we expect from Alabama because of the lack of offensive weapons. Mm-hmm. I agree with that notion. But if Alabama is the Alabama that is the Death Star, I don't know how to feel about this. So I am going to take Texas, especially if you can get 7.5. I like the 2-score thing there. I think that they have a real chance to win and kind of properly introduce themselves to the country as a team that should stop being, ridiculed for not being legit. And maybe later on they'll go lose to, Texas Tech or something, and then we'll have to reassess at that point. But, if Texas wins this game with the schedule ahead of them and they don't make the playoff this year, that is embarrassing on so many levels that I can't even get into on this podcast right now. So
we may have to get into it on a future podcast, sorry.
Yeah, we'll have to get into it now. I'm not gonna even consider that notion until later on. But yeah, that's it's the game of the week, and I am super excited to go experience that.